Have you ever had a moment where you're going through a rough period of life and thought, why does this have to be happening to me? Feeling like you've hit rock bottom and no idea on how to gain your happiness back? What if I told you this was your greatest blessing? You may not take my idea seriously. I'm just a teenager. What would I know? But I want to explain my idea through my journey of dealing with anorexia nervosa, a mental illness characterized by an obsessive desire to lose weight by refusing to eat. I obsessively counted my calories, trying to limit the amount as much as possible. I felt the urge to exercise, even when I'd eaten very little. I hid food from family and told countless lies. My eating disorder made me push people away, as I didn't want the help they were offering me. Missed opportunities, as I wasn't mentally or physically stable enough, and lose sight of who I really was. Perhaps you're wondering why I put up with this. I knew I was underweight, so why didn't I just eat? However, eating disorders are not that simple. I have a voice in my head, much like a devil perched on my shoulder. Imagine it's your birthday, and you've just blown out the candles on the cake your family have made for you. They offer you a slice. You want to say yes, but the voice inside your head is saying, you can't eat that. You're just going to get fat. Over time, the voice gets stronger the more you listen to it. Pieces of cake turn to whole meals. I became scared of what would happen if I didn't obey the voice. It's almost like an addiction. Once you successfully follow a command, you get a sense of achievement. You want to try and impress this voice by eating even less than it tells you. Your mind becomes invaded and taken under control by this cunning, callous voice. I battled every day with my intrusive thoughts. Food became the only thing I was interested in, as I counted down the hours in the day until I finally allowed myself to eat the bare minimum. And as waking up each day started to feel like a chore, it felt as though I had nothing to live for anymore. My anorexia had taken over. And with my hair falling out in chunks, always feeling painfully cold, and the thought I might collapse due to my heart failing, I realized I couldn't live like this anymore. Bullied by my own mind. It was a slow process, but eventually I was able to overcome some of my unwanted thoughts. I had to force myself to eat meals I'd become scared of, after having avoided them for so long. I mean, who would have thought butter on toast would be so terrifying? Many times I'd cry after a meal, due to the deep guilt of disobeying the voice and the ultimate fear of gaining weight. Although this was a grueling and somewhat scary experience, I'm thankful for what I've gone through. However tough it was, it has made me into the person I am today by teaching me priceless life lessons. Anorexia taught me 3 main lessons. Firstly, compassion. Many days I felt completely alone, nobody to talk to, as I didn't know how to express myself. And even if I did, it's hard for people to understand what I was going through. Most people didn't know the depth of what I was dealing with, only that I was not a healthy weight. I was smiling around people, laughing and making jokes. But this was just a sort of mask to hide what was actually going on. I was mentally drained from constantly battling thoughts inside my head and feelings of sadness which weighed me down. I would have never wished how I felt on anyone, no matter how much I disliked them. So from then on, I tried to remember to check on my friends, even the ones who seem like they're doing the best, because this isn't always the case. It can brighten someone's day just to know you're thinking about them and that they are loved. We can often get caught up in our own lives and forget to show love and appreciation for those who have been there for us. Secondly, it taught me to never give up. After deciding to go against my anorexia brain and eat in abundance for a couple days, suddenly the fear and guilt would come rushing back, overriding any of my efforts of getting better, making me fall back into my eating disorder behaviors once again. No matter how hopeless my efforts felt, of slowly moving a step forward to being brought back another 3, or digging myself out of a hole that just seems to be getting deeper and deeper and deeper, I realized I couldn't settle for living with regret of damaging my body each day, losing friends, and ultimately having to give up on my dreams, all for the fear of gaining weight and losing control. It felt like it kept coming to a dead end in an endless maze. It was wearing me down, and at one point I thought I'd never reach the way out. I had to have patience and believe in myself that I could overcome this. Every task that life throws at me, I am now determined to give it my all and not just give up on the first try. Thirdly, self-love. This is a huge problem, and I'm sure many of you have struggled for loving yourself for who you are. For a while before my eating disorder, I was so uncomfortable with my body and hated looking at it in the mirror. This is the issue it sparked my anorexia. I thought if I was skinny, I'd be happy. I'd have no problems and completely love myself. Well, I was completely wrong. As I started losing weight, I did feel good within myself and I did receive compliments, but I always wanted to be happier with my body. So I lost more and more weight, trying to seek this happiness, when all I was really doing was losing happiness. I realized trying to fix the appearance of my body wasn't the key to loving myself. I had to accept myself. And this is the hardest part, as I'm not totally there yet. There are days where I feel rubbish about myself and have low self-esteem. But some days I do like what I see in the mirror. The fact your opinion on how you look can change so drastically in the space of a day shows self-love has less to do with what you look like and more to do with how you think. No matter how much weight I lost, it was never enough for my anorexia brain. And after years of trying to change how I look in order to love myself, I finally understood. My worth was not dependent on how I looked. Friends don't choose to spend time with you because you look nice. They choose to spend time with you because you're funny, intelligent, or maybe you're a good listener, or always know the right advice to give. People remember others for what they did to impact their lives and how they made them feel, not what they looked like. So it's okay to not always love what you see in the mirror. But remember, that does not define your worth. Focus on being a better person on the inside, as this is where the real happiness is hidden. So what I want you to take away from my talk is when you're going through a struggle in life, you have to think to yourself, what is this teaching me? How can I grow from this experience to better myself in the future? Through every challenging circumstance we go through, there's something we're experiencing on the deeper level, and it's not always obvious to us. But the real important part when you're going through a struggle is seeing what's in front of you, opening your perception up and saying, as a result of what I'm going through, or what I've just been through, what do I see about myself now? Am I gaining in strength? Am I finding more love for myself? Just like I became more compassionate for others after having felt so miserable myself, I had to go through the struggle in order to see another's perspective, to be able to open my heart for people who may have gone through the same thing. You may be jealous of people who have never had challenges or rough periods of their life. But really, you have an advantage. You have an opportunity to learn more about yourself and develop as a person. It's a blessing. So the next time you're faced with a challenge that seems impossible to overcome, be patient, believe in yourself, and always remember, what is this teaching me? Once you start thinking like this, and it becomes a habit, you will become unstoppable.